Roots and culture.
I'm shining from the mountains. For me foot up pure red dot. Crocus back them stitch up on the cabbage well cut. Bout a dozen I trade for me shut I got. Peppers right banana.
I tell you, America, Africa, Caribbean by extension, this is the moment that you all have been waiting for. As we now will be placing reggae iconic artists in the spotlight to reveal some of his story behind his big story to help understand the culture of reggae music. Is to now speak to reggae artist Perfect Giddimani. A pleasant good day to you. How are you doing?
Blessed up, my brother. Blessed up. Everything good?
Everything is alright. Now, early on, I will play your music, and persons was really gravitating to the music. We saw a fiery emoji appearing on their screen, and persons will really were able to identify and to interact with the song because obviously the songs that we hear coming from Perfect Giddimani is songs are reality content persons could identify with. Once again, we want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule in being here with us as we journey into the life of Perfect Giddimani. Once again, welcome.
Yes, my brother. Give thanks for having me on the program. I really appreciate the support over the years, and yes, the consistency of playing quality, conscious reggae music for the mass. Yes, I. Enough respect. Thank you.
Thank you so much again. Now, for those who might not know the name, but pretty much sure that they're aware of the music, the songs, please introduce yourself, a bit more information, your early childhood,
Well,
where you were actually born.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
start it off like that.
All right. So I'm originally from Senton, the parish of Senton in Jamaica. Yeah, I was born actually in Sentons Bay Hospital. Senton is also the birth parish of Marcus Garvey and Burden Spear and Bob Marley, and we could go on and on. So yeah, I was born in Sentons Bay. I grew up in Bamboo, which is a small village, which is probably about 30 miles from Sentence Bay, going up into the hills. Yeah, so that is where I grew up. Small village, Bamboo. It's a farming village, good folks, church folks. A whole heap of Rasta is a Rasta community too. So, there was a balance between, church life and, Rasta life, so to speak. Yeah. Normal life, you go to school during the week on a Monday to Friday, then you go to church on a Sunday, from a small family, two brothers, one sister. Yeah, as I said, grew up in Bamboo, so we went to the all-age school. At that time, they would classify it as an all-age school in Bamboo. And then after graduating from all-age school, we went off to York Castle, which is in Brownstown, which is mhm.
Now, even before you get into that part, for those who might not know, St. Anne is a parish in Jamaica. It's considered to be in the countryside of Jamaica. Now, for the listeners who are joining us on Facebook and live over the radio all across the world, as a young boy growing up from the countryside in Jamaica, how would you best describe the atmosphere, the attitude of people from St. Anne at a very tender age?
Yeah, well, I grew up in the time when, St. Anne, although it is a parish, it felt like just a small community. You know what I say? Because people knew people, and that atmosphere of love and caring and sharing. I really grew up in that, when your neighbor would check on you if you're all right, and somebody randomly coming from bush with some yam or some banana, them just stop and, hey, what's up? You want some banana? You want some yam? So we grew up in that time, where it was the community, just like how they said it takes a community to grow a child. I grew up in that era. Yeah, I grew up in that era, definitely. And like I said, I'm from a farming village. So self-reliance
Mm.
was key. That was key, definitely. And growing up in my area, honestly, I never heard of a murder king.
Wow.
Never heard of a murder, never heard of police catching any guys with guns. None of that. I grew up in a real humble, disciplined, old-fashioned, traditional community. And that community has helped me to be where I'm at right now, because just certain values and principles that were instilled, by the villagers, not just
Mm.
by my parents, but by the neighbors. And, I learned from everyone, King, within that community, from Rasta, from Christian, there wasn't really a difference or a tussle between them, we all, we all saw each other for who they were, and we all respected, you know, people's choices and stuff like that. But apart from that, I grew up in a community, a real
Mm.
community, Yeah, I
Mm.
was sheltered, man. Yeah, I was sheltered, by a real community,
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Bamboo.
Right. So right. So we seems to be having some technical experiences. Perfect Giddimani, as persons are not hearing what you are saying. So we will
Yeah,
definitely look into that and bring you live very shortly.
okay. I don't know what's the problem.
That's all right.
Man, princess is one of our iron and you know. I will never make the eye fault. The journey soon ends. Yes, I see the case of a word. She get one for love and joy from the young cat boy and the same little bubble you 20 fits right on the market. Me juggle pepper and pop child. She never know she would have then we die. She get one for love and joy from the young cat boy and the same little bubble you 20 fits right. Round the market me juggle pop child. She know she would have then we die.
I do apologize, listeners, for the inconvenient cause with the interview, as persons weren't able to hear um, uh, Perfect Giddimani. But however, we've rectified the problem and now he's back. I want to say again, Africa, America, Caribbean by extension, this is the moment that you guys all have been waiting for. As we now will be placing roots reggae artists, conscious artists, Perfect Giddimani in the spotlight to reveal the stories behind some of his big story to help understand the culture of reggae music coming from the island of Jamaica. Welcome. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Give thanks for having me, fans of Black. Enough respect, respect every time.
Thank you so much again. Of course, because earlier on persons were not able to hear you. However, we've rectified that problem. So again, can you please give a brief introduction to who you are and where were you born, etc.
Yeah, international reggae artist from Senton, Jamaica. I was born in the parish of Senton. Grew up in a small village called Bamboo, which is 30 miles north from Senton's Bay, yeah. So small village, farming village, real humble people. I'm from a small family of two brothers, one sister. And we grew up the regular life, regular, go to school during the week, go to church, football on the weekends or cricket, help out your parents in the yard, help out your uncle on the bush or on the farm sometimes, and stuff like that. Yeah, man. Yeah.
And earlier on, you express how you came from a humble beginning, your environment, the community played a big part in the development of young children growing up in that community. Just explain to our listeners a bit more on that.
Yeah, I mean, growing up in Bamboo, it's a farming village, so very humble people, and I learned from an early age that you don't have to have a lot of money to live good, so to speak, because we grew up in that type of environment to know how to cherish what you have, regardless of how small it might be or the circumstances which you got it under. So certain principles and virtues, were instilled by our parents and the villagers and relatives, you know, um just it taught us to really be self-reliant, because like I said, it's a small community, farming community again, and a lot of discipline and just a lot of awareness, self-awareness, you know, as young people growing up, we had a lot of guidance around us and stuff like that. See, so
Now, based
yeah.
on that humbleness that you grew up in the parish of Saint Anne, how would you best describe yourself during a young boy growing up in school? How would you best describe yourself?
No, well, let's see. No, going to school, you know, my mother was a teacher, Seeing that's the first thing. My mother was a teacher. So going to school, we were disciplined man at school, because as a teacher's child, you can't really get out of hand and do anything to disgrace, your parent and the compound, at school. So
Definitely.
yeah, I was a disciplined kid at school. Of course we give trouble one and two times, but for majority of the times I had to keep it straight because I used to attend the same school that my mother used to teach, And so as a teacher's kid, you're more observed by the rest of teachers and stuff like that. So any little thing you do out of line, it would be reported to your parent, So like I said, majority of the times we try to keep it straight in school. My mother also pushed me into a lot of activities during that time, like spelling bee competitions and acting, players acting in plays,
Hmm.
doing some performance at festivals and stuff like that. So my mom kept me active in school. She always found something for me to do. Whether drama or giving a speech, or writing compositions and stuff like that. Me I say so. From an early age, I was introduced to an audience. I had an audience for myself because, like I
Hmm.
said, I used to represent the school, in different times in the parish of Saint Anne, and if it got bigger, then we would move up to Kingston or, Montego Bay or whatever. But I used to represent the school a lot, doing small performances and spelling bee or stuff like that. Yeah.
Perfect, Giddimani.
Yeah.
How would you consider yourself growing up in your community, Saint Anne, as the struggle was real, or would you say you were quite fortunate?
Um, it depends on how you look at it, because some people look at being fortunate to have a lot of money and opportunities. No, I never grew up with a bunch of money, and I never grew up with a lot of opportunities, especially coming from the countryside of Jamaica, where at that time, opportunities were very much limited, in that region where I'm from. Like I said, it was a farming community. It's not like, on the coast in Ocherios where you had hotels, or in Kingston where you had different types of opportunities that you could venture into. Yeah. So I never had that. But what we had was a lot of good values and a lot of great people, a lot of role models that weren't necessarily rich monetarily, but rich in wisdom and rich in humanity and
Right.
rich in life, and rich in knowing how to, just be so social, with people overall. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
that was my richness. That was my richness, so and it's priceless. So we give thanks regardless of it wasn't money itself, So yeah, I was fortunate. In that case, I was very fortunate. I was surrounded by great people, great, just super great people, from family to friends to people that just motivate me so much. Yeah.
Right. So you were brought up in such humble environment, and you had the support, and your parent created that sort of opportunity for you. At what point along, during your time as a young boy, did you realize that music was within your soul, and it's was something that you would have want to pursue later on in your life?
Well, I would say that music bug really bite me in high school. In high school is where, it really dig into my skin, like, this is what you should be doing. Because after going to school in the evenings, I used to go down to where my brethren that a sound system. See, my brethren had a sound system in Brownstown. At that time, like
Mm-hmm.
bass Odyssey and those sounds was just starting to get popular. Never get popular as yet, yeah? So at that time, I
Mm-hmm.
used to go down to my friend's house in the afternoons, and he would just, you know, allow me to check out the sound, check out the record box, and it was like going to school after school, because I was learning about different labels, different producers, the right name of the artist, because I was going through the record box. So I'm looking at the 45s, and all right, Penthouse is a yellow label, Jammins is a blue label. Oh, Digital
Right.
Bobby is a yellow label. So
Yes.
me I learn the record box, and I'm learning about producers, I'm learning about different labels, I'm learning about musicians also, Sly and Robbie, Dean Fraser, Jackie Mittoo, from Studio One. So it's like university.
Right.
It's university. I was going to university after school. You know what I mean? So I was going to school for regular education in the daytime, but in the afternoon I was going to the university for music, for reggae music.
Now, I'm happy that you mentioned that, Perfect
Yeah.
Giddimani, because what interests me is to find out, rather, how were you able to balance your education, your formal education at school, as opposed to learning the craft as a musician, wanting to be around the sound system and be around artists? How did you balance it off?
No, I, it never balanced out, honestly. The music override everything, So unfortunately I never had a graduation. You know me I say? So yeah, the music override everything, to be honest with you. The music just, yeah, take away everything, you know. But we do give thanks for the education that we got in school, because we have seen where it has helped us, during these times, or during my
Mm.
career overall. May I say? So, you know, it was important, it was very important, but you take the musical road 100.
Wow. So, give us some of your experience as a young boy in school, the opportunity that you would have gotten to perform if you did, and how was that experience? How was that feel as a young boy performing before an audience at school?
No, well, ever since all age school or primary school, like I tell you, my mom always pushed me to perform. So, I was used to an audience from an early age. Seeing?
Mm.
Or yeah, if I wasn't performing at school, like I told you, I would be representing the school on a weekend at some little festival competition or whatever. See?
Mm.
And then after leaving primary school and going to high school now, it's the same thing, you know. Each time, like they would have a class party coming up, or you know, a summer party or whatever it was, you know, some money raising function or whatever, and they said they needed somebody to sing. Then all the kids would say, you know, Miss, let that guy sing because we hear him around the class singing at lunchtime and
Right.
stuff like that. So they always point on me, you know. So yeah, at high school, man, we did a lot of stuff in high school, same, you know, and that only made me better, so to speak, because like I said before, I was used to an audience before even going to high school. You know, even not just on a weekend, my mom would put my brothers and sisters to sit down, you know, and probably if two of my cousins were there, and you know, I would have to recite a poem in front of them, or
Wow.
you know, whatever, and then I would have to do it with my voice on a certain pitch, and you know, my pronunciation have to be proper, and my
Right.
delivery have to be like, you know, I have to stand a certain way, and you know, so she
Yeah.
get me in shape. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So it's like I'm performing for my brothers and my sister and two of my cousins plus her. You know, so
Now, having gotten all this
yeah,
quality instilled from a young age from your mom,
yeah.
how easy or difficult was it to get the opportunity to enter through the doors of a professional studio? And as soon as producers heard the quality coming from you, what was the reaction? Talk to us about that.
Well, you know, as much as my mom did, and as much as I digested it and practiced it, that that is not anything to get you through a professional studio door. You know what I say?
Okay.
Jamaica rough, you know, when it come on to going through studio doors back in that time, you know, it's
Yes.
tough. You definitely have to have a link that has a link to that link. Or you have the link to the person directly, you know. But going to studio was not easy, man. If I can remember well, actually the first time I went into a professional studio, I paid my own money. I saved up my own money and I paid my own money, and I went into a professional studio. So the first time I went into a professional studio, I paid my way in there. I bought the studio time. I went in there and I did my thing.
Mm.
And while doing my thing, the engineer was like, John, who are you? Where come from? You to wicked, and you know what I'm saying? A few more
Yes.
DJs were there because at that time, I booked studio time at Arrows in
Mm.
Kingston. Yeah, Arrows out at East, you know, near a Dunkirk around there, so seeing Sprague Burns area. So
Right.
I booked some studio time out there, so, and at that time, Baby Wayne hot, you know, like Monster Shock, hot and Power Man, and them brethren there, you know, they were firing at that time. So I booked the studio session over there, and I wanted to just do a dub plate for myself that I could bring back into my community and play it on the big sound for sure. Them say, yeah, see, me I play upon vinyl for real, you know. Right? So I book some studio time in the Arrows, and yeah, man, I do the dub plate and Power Man, them man, you know, General B, them man, I say, you just sound good, you know. And me I say, yeah, man, I country, I come from and thing, and them I say, yeah, man, just go and do the thing, man, and you know, keep it up and thing, man, you go boss, you know. So yeah, that was the first time I go in our studio. Yeah.
Now, heritage that you're young, you're still young, very young
Mm.
in your career. You're just about branching off into your career. Um, for the benefit of our listeners, explain to us what's going on in your mind in terms of reggae. How do you perceive reggae at that age? What does reggae mean to you at that age? Even if you might have the interest, but we want to understand from deep down inside you, what did you saw? What did you feel reggae to be?
No, at that time we just love the music, you know, honestly, you know. Because remember, I was still a virgin to reggae, so to speak. You know, it's like, you know, it's like you meet a girl for the first time. It's just all about the girl, you
Mm,
know. It's not about the girl and babies are the girl and marriage are the girl and breaking up are.
right,
It's just all
right,
about the
yes.
girl, you know. So it was all about reggae, you know, just yeah, I just want to do this because I just love the music. I wasn't thinking about the business part of it. I wasn't thinking about not even going on tour. Those things that cross my mind, going on playing, nothing like that, bro. Me just love reggae dancehall music because I grew up around it. I was surrounded by it, the vibes, the sound system. Them at that time, you have Chupa, them Kilimanjaro, Super D with nuts, them, BSS was getting hot, Silver Heart, them, I go on bad. And, yeah, I could not get away from the music. It was like an infection. So we just have to just
Now
live with it.
describe to us heritage. Of course, you mentioned that there were already artists who were already established back in the name. You named a few, and you are just rising. How confident were you at the time, even to grab hold of the mic, to stand next to those artists and sing on those sound system? Walk us through those days back in them time.
No, well, you are going now. You see, it's just like a kid, or a student right now. You have an exam coming up, let's say Friday, right?
Mm,
Um, if you studied properly and you
mm,
did your homework properly, you walk into that exam smiling.
yes,
Yeah, but if you
of
never
course.
do your homework, so we did our homework. Yeah, man, up in a bamboo round sound system. Because listen, honestly, if you haven't done this is 8,000 to 10,000 hours round sound system at DJ. You haven't really much played the dues, and we run sound system at DJ for hours. So we were actually going to school. We were doing a homework. We were studying at that time. So when it come to the stage show, them know when I was starting to get a little bit popular, and we started some shows outside of our area, and then we're gonna meet some artists on stage that they're getting a buzz at the same time too. We never feel intimidated, no, because we practice, we're ready, we're sharp. So let's go. I was ready.
Amazing. And
Yeah,
of
yeah, I was
course,
ready.
listeners, if
Yeah,
you're just joining in, my name is Fonsa Black, and I'm talking to reggae artist Perfect Giddimani from the
yeah, yeah,
island
yeah.
of Jamaica. And we are placing him in the spotlight as he reveals some of his stories behind his big story, and to help understand the culture of reggae music coming from the island of Jamaica. The sound system, we've spoke about it a bit, but we always know from the history that it's played a big major part in the development of the history of reggae
Yeah,
music.
yeah.
Now, in your time whilst performing on the sound system, how would you best describe what was happening on the ground? How did the fans receive you? What was happening? Were they quite enjoying the vibes or timid? Explain to us as much as you can, as much as you could remember as well.
Yeah, my brother, man. I mean, you see sound system dancehall vibes. That sometimes I can't find words to explain that. That vibe is like you have to be there for really get the true experience and the true meaning. Because honestly, there's nothing like it. DJ around sound, and I'll 10 DJ around sound, and I pass the mic, you know, one to another, and rhythm I run taxi rhythm, slankai rhythm, slangtang rhythm, punani rhythm. It's incredible, my brother. Incredible.
Now, one of the things that
Incredible.
is always interesting to know, as an artist, how do you take control on your fans whilst performing? How do you feed that energy across to them to allow them to really gravitate to the music that you are singing? What is the secret behind it?
Sometimes you have to read the fans.
Mm.
Depending on the moment in a dance hall, sometimes you have to read the fans. It depends on the moment because you see, sometimes the fans want like a freestyle vibe. And then sometimes the fans want some original style vibe. So depending, you have to read the dance, just like a selector have to read the dance and kind of know which tune to play at a certain time. The same way an artist, you know. Yeah, same way with the artist, whether you know you're performing on a stage show or you're performing at the dance hall. You have to read the dance, especially you're following up, you know, from what was done, let's say a minute before, you know. You have to know how to follow up, you know, especially if what was done before you never really make any sense. You can't really come and do something similar to that. You have to change the game. You have to give it a 360. You know what I mean? But if what was done a minute before you made sense and well, you can improvise on that. You know what I say? So you have to read the atmosphere of the dance and the vibe of the people, and you know, it's something that you have to go to the reggae university to learn. You just don't learn that like that on the sidewalk. You definitely have to
imagine.
Yeah, you have to go reggae your way. Yeah, you have to go
Right, I can
reggae.
imagine.
Yeah.
Another thing, Perfect Giddimani, is wanting to find out the spiritual side of music, because we've heard your music, we've heard songs from you, Handcut Man, and many others, which is conscious, its roots, and it builds a vibes when listening to the music. It kind of calm you down. It relaxes you. It sends you into deep meditation. Do you know what I mean? How are you able to put together, you know what I mean, those material, but bearing in mind we want to find out the spiritual side of it, you know what I mean, because I suppose that's why it's able to move people, and it's not physical, but the energy that comes behind the music are able to sink into the minds of the people and able to awaken minds. How does it all happen?
Is the energy that you put into it, you know. And the energy that you put into something is the energy that you're gonna receive from it. Yeah. Whatever the energy that you put into something is the energy that you're going to receive from it. It's like good karma, bad karma, you know. Yeah. So, you know, even a song like Hancock Boy, under the circumstances that it was done and everything, bro, you know, it was special, honestly. You know, and then, you know, it's word, sound, and then power. So you see, words take on the vibration, you know, or the spirit, so to speak, you know. Seeing, so that's why some songs are more effective than others. You know what I'm saying? It's all about the story, you know, when it was done, how it was done, you know, how it was arranged, you know, how the instruments were played, you know, everything makes a difference. And that in its own self is just an entire body of language that's going out there. And you know, it transcends, you know, to all different walks of life, you know, to all different types and classes and you know, people, you know. So yeah.
At this minute, we're gonna be taking a song break, and
Yeah.
we're gonna be listening to Handcut Boy. And when we come back, we have reggae artist Perfect Giddimani will be telling us much more about that song right here on UVC Radio. We also want to acknowledge all our viewers on Facebook that at UVC Radio. We want to say thank you so much for joining the live and continue sharing the live. So let's take in Handcut Boy by Perfect Giddimani.
Love and joy from the uncat boy, and the same little bubble you 20 fits right on the market. Me juggle pepper and pop chai. She never know she would have done with that. She get fully for love and joy from the uncat boy, and the same little bubble you 20 fits right on the market. Me juggle pop chai. She never know she would have done with that. I'm trotting from the mountains, for me foot up pure red nut. Crocus back them stitch up and the cabbage well cut. Bout a dozen I trip on me shut I got peppers coming home to my little hut. She never know she would have dead with I. She take one lip and
Roots and culture.
Roots and culture. She never know she would have dead with I. She always admire when I glorify the king. I know I see my turban each and every morning.
Let go big show.
From the spring, I push my curtain, dance and sing. Oh, what a loving, caring woman you are.
Of course, I want to say welcome back. And for those again who are on Facebook, we want to say welcome back. We are talking to reggae artist Perfect Giddimani, and we've just heard the song in the background called Handcut Boy. And we're
Yes,
going
sir.
to the artist.
Yes, sir.
Of course, he could tell us a bit more about that song. So, what was going on in your mind? Is it a song that reflects a true reality, or what exactly inspired you to put together such reality and meaningful song?
Yeah, because we see these things occurring on the island of Jamaica. We see these things in a far right. We see where, because you see the handcart boy job, is one of the lowest forms of domestic jobs on the island. And we have seen handcart boy dating, you know, women from just that doing that same job. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who, let's say, it works in an office, or just somebody who society would class as being on another level. Let's just be honest. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
So we have seen that love really has no boundaries. You know what I'm saying? Because if the girl really loves the guy on the bicycle, the guy with the BMW cannot take her out, and that's a fact. You just heard what I said. If
Yes.
if the girl really loves the guy on the bicycle,
Yes.
the guy with the BMW cannot. She won't allow the guy with the BMW to take her out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
we grew up on the island where we see some relationships that people would classify as being odd, but it's not odd. It's just how love works. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. Uncat
But did you have
boys.
any idea that whilst putting pen to paper with that song, that did you have any idea that it would have been such big song and have such impact, great impact to the wider world globally? Was that ever in your mind whilst putting that song together?
Not at all. Not at all. Not at
So
all.
when it
Not
actually
at all.
did get that reaction and persons really gravitated to it, what was your reaction as the artist?
You just have a smile and shake your head. Yeah, honestly. Just have a smile and shake your head and say, Janu. It's you can't find words to really explain it. The joy is so huge that you want to smile, you want to laugh, you want to cry, you want to run, you want to sit down, you want to call somebody, you don't want to call nobody. It's the vibe is just overwhelming. Knowing that the song is it's a humble song, and it's coming from a humble place, Plus, the producer for the song never at that time we never had any money to even promote the song, bro. It's just that song really just, I would say that song bust itself, because at that time when he recorded that song, it's not like the producer had a budget for putting into promotion or I had a budget. Zero. Not even gas I could have buy. Him can't buy gas. But what we're able to do was we're able to raise some funds to buy blank CDs at that time. So we buy some blank CDs, and press up handcart boy on it and just start give it away. Just in the middle of the road, we're giving handcart boy to a teacher, to a kid coming from school, to a old lady coming from church, to a policeman at the bar over there, so, to, a carpenter. So we're just giving away the handicap boy, just give it away, not asking for even $1, just giving it away out there. And, until we start hearing it playing in taxis, you're passing some bars, you start hearing it playing until the radio pick it up, until Jamaica pick it up, until the world swallowed it. And this is where we're at right now.
Amazing. The
Yeah.
name Perfect Giddimani. How did you come up with such powerful name?
Yeah, well, the name Perfect, honestly, is a self-given name, And I gave myself that name not out of, any egotistical vibe, or, any conceited vibe. It's just that I wanted a name that would remind me to do my work properly and to represent this great music that we call reggae properly. So each time, I would, be going up on stage or just before I perform, and the MC said, next on stage, perfect. When I hear perfect, it just reminds me, hey, go out there, give it your best shot, represent properly, make sure you have fun, make sure the people have fun, and get back home safe. Yep. Make everybody have a good time. So, it just reminds me to do my work properly. It's the last thing before I hear on stage that reminds me to do my work properly, give these guys a good show, let the promoters be satisfied. Yeah. Yeah. Do it
And
to the best of your
Giddimani. What's
ability.
about
Yeah.
Giddimani?
Well, Giddimani was added a few years after because I was having some problems at one point, because what happened is that out of respect, you had this jockeys that started saying Mr. Perfect, in which the artist's name was just Perfect. But this jockey started saying Mr. Perfect, and then you had producers starting to put in Mr. Perfect on the record. Then my publisher at that time, she got a mail from the wrestler, Mr. Perfect. In the US, there was a wrestler. He died right now. His name is Mr. Perfect. And she got an email from the lawyers about some name thing, whatever. So at that time I added Giddimani on the Perfect just to change it from Mr. Perfect, and just to give it just more, so that it would identify me more. Because if it was just perfect, you have the perfect house, the perfect wedding, the perfect car. So the Giddimani was added. And now the meaning of Giddimani is I'm a Gideon morning, because that's a word that I came up with. So yes, so I'm a Gideon, but the short it and say Giddy, morning, Giddimani. I'm a Gideon morning, or morning after I'm a Gideon. So perfect, I'm a Gideon morning, yeah.
Right. That's
Yes,
quite
sir.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's quite interesting. Now,
Yeah.
of course, uh, over the years, what has really kept you to remain grounded, remain humble in terms of the lyrical content that we hear coming from you? You, one of the artists who've always remained conscious and always remained roots. Explain to our listeners what has contributed to you remaining humble over the years.
My people, my people. Yeah, man. Just us as a people, knowing the circumstances that we have been through, all the oppression, all the racism, slave trade, I could name 100 or 1,000 bad stuff that happened to us as a people, So yeah, man, the people really keep me grounded, really keep me strong, and just knowing that we still have a lot of hurdles and a lot of problems to overcome, as Black people, that alone, just knowing that the mission is not accomplished as yet, we still have many more miles to go. The journey is not over. And yep, I have to be grounded on the battlefield for the brothers and sisters. Yeah. So yep, the conditions still keep me grounded.
How
Yeah.
do you see reggae music up to date? Are you satisfied with where reggae is at the moment? Or if not, where do you hope to see reggae music in a few years from now?
Um, if I'm satisfied commercially, no. But if I'm satisfied because of the cause of what this music is supposed to do, yes, I am satisfied in that regards, yeah. Because what we have to remember is that reggae music is the rebels music, and it will be loved and accepted and played, mostly by people that are going through circumstances that the music, can identify with. You know what I'm saying? This is the
Mm.
sufferer's music. Yeah, this is the struggler's music, you know. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, go and find one and two party songs within the genre. Move your dancing feet and shake your hips or whatever. But at the end of the day, this music was made out of suffering and oppression, and just people crying out for help and assistance, and tired of being put down and classed and everything like that. So we have seen where this music have helped, people in different countries across the world. We see Bob Marley, got free up Zimbabwe with reggae music, and we can name other circumstances too where the music has really, it has made a great impact in regards to, what was happening. So like I said, man, where the music is at right now, it's good because
Mm-hmm.
we still have the vanguards that are making quality reggae
Mm-hmm.
music, that is supposed to do what it is supposed to do. The thing is that the broadcasters, like the I and the DJs, the selectors and stuff like that, they also have a very important part to play in regards to how this music is being served on the table. You know what I'm saying?
Now
Um,
that you have made the listeners understand or reflect as to what is reggae music or the true reflection of reggae music, which is the suffering, the pains that black people have been through, the struggles. And now with the introduction of, how do you call it? Trap music, sorry, with the introduction of that new music called um, uh, um, trap music. As a reggae artist who's conscious, who's rooted, what is your take on that? How do you see, or do you see it affecting that great genre called reggae? Or what is your take on that? Let's hear what you have to say on that.
no, in no way, shape, or form. I don't see that a threat to reggae music, trap music. Yeah. If disco music wasn't a threat to reggae music back in the late 70s, 80s, trap trap could never be a threat. Disco music was more popular than trap. If you check it, disco was the likes of
Mm,
Madonna, and even Michael Jackson was quote unquote disco. You know what I mean? Like, you know, trap music, listen, the kids are gonna experiment. Let the kids have fun, man.
mm.
Always, yeah, let the kids have fun. All right. We as grown people, so to speak, we know what we should be doing. So I think rather than complain of what is happening, complaining about what is happening over there, I think it's better to focus on what we are doing here and just try to make it better. Yeah, like people complaining, we not get no good music for play like them. Like, of course, you just don't want to play the good music. You have an option. Okay, you have an option. You could go back from the 70s, and if you could start playing reggae music, conscious reggae music, bro. Trust me, probably you'll be playing conscious reggae music for 10 years straight, non-stop. You know what I'm saying? So don't bash. Just go for another option. And
Well
reggae gives
said.
you a lot of options. Yeah, reggae gives you a lot of options. You
Well
know what I'm
said.
saying? Reggae gives you a lot of options, man. You know, so the massive out there that sometimes just saying, hey, like, you're tired of hearing the garbage and you're tired. Just don't listen to the garbage. Go back.
Absolutely.
Play a whole album of Garnet Silk. Play a whole album of D Brown. You know what I'm saying? Play an album of
Yeah.
the meditation, the Congos. You trust me, you can select through so much music. Just yeah, stop. Don't quarrel, man. Don't make yourself miserable. Just head over to reggae and check the beautiful catalog that we have. It's huge, trust me. Very huge.
Talk to us about the first time you left the shores of Jamaica and you went to a foreign country the first time and to perform. And what was the feeling like on stage? And what was the energy like when you returned to Jamaica?
Well, the first time I perform overseas, and say a Warrior King bring me overseas now. Big up to Warrior King, yeah. Like I,
Mm.
I was in Kingston, like me and him, sitting down and have some lunch, and I'm like, so what you doing weekend? That time I was, yeah, Handcart Boy just came out like 3 months, and it getting popular somewhat. And him said, what you do this weekend? I said, nothing. He said, I could go Suriname. Because
Mm.
he had a show in Suriname with
Wow.
Morgan Heritage. Yeah. So he was opening up for Morgan Heritage. I wasn't on the show, and him said, you know what, just come and open up for me. So I opened up for him, and then him opened up for Morgan Heritage. And I just got like probably 15 minutes on stage, sing Handcart Boy. At that time, like I said, the song was not super popular. People were still getting into it. But the reception was lovely, and it was somewhat interesting to know that I was in a country that did not speak, like 100% English, but
Mm.
people were still having a good time, and I could see one and two mouths moving in the audience. So me, I said, oh, at least one and two people here know the song. So so it was a good feeling. It was a good feeling. Yeah, man.
And what was the reaction like when you returned to Jamaica when you landed back on Ireland?
Yeah, well, landing back at that time, it wasn't really broadcasted on a level like, yeah, perfect, went to Suriname and perform. It wasn't like it made the headlines
Mm.
or it was something big. Because like I tell you, it's just Warrior King invite me. I said, perfect. I could go Suriname. But personally, it felt good. Cause I said, yeah, first show, come back off of the plane, and I said I could have tell two virgins, say, yeah, we go a little place named Suriname and the vibes nice. And one and two people are sing my song, and yeah, man, so it felt good. And it also gave me hopes about traveling again, because I was like, whoa, yes, you know, from one to many more. So it was a good feeling, man. Deep down, good feeling.
We now know that Perfect Giddimani has migrated to the United States of America. Talk to
Yeah.
us about talk to us about the transition. Like when you arrived to the US, what was that transition like coming from the island of Jamaica, and how did it contributed to your musical career? Did it was it did it have a positive impact or a negative impact? What was the situation?
Yeah, well, the transition wasn't really frightening or a problem, so to speak, because you see, over the years I have lived outside of Jamaica more than I've lived inside of Jamaica. Ever since
Mm,
Handcart Boy, yeah.
mm.
Because if I wasn't in Europe for an extended amount of time, I was in the US, or I was just somewhere else in the world, you know. So you know, yeah, over the years, like I said, I did a lot of time in Europe, and I did a lot of time in the US working on albums, touring, doing shows, you know what I'm saying? So migrating here now, and you see the difference is that just to track back a little bit, the thing is that I did not, this interview could probably go on for 5 hours, but you see, I did not take the regular route that reggae artists take
Mm.
coming up. Yeah, because me have to say enough respect to even my brethren Anthony Beach, because you see, the thing is that at the time when Hancock Boy bust and I was getting popular, Anthony B was the first artist to bring me on a real tour. Yeah, like I think Anthony B had 30 shows out in Europe, and him invite me out in Europe and say, "Hey, come, I'm gonna let you open up for me and stuff like that." And I opened up for him. It was a really, really lovely experience. We did probably about 20 different countries, about
Wow.
30 shows, yeah, on that tour. And I remember coming back to Jamaica and yes, Jamaica is nice, reggae music and the vibe is there, but um there was much more to do out into the world, and the Jamaica is so small. It's like, hey, me sing a Kingston, sing a Westmoreland, sing a Portland, and pretty much, like where does it go from there again? So um then I think now there was a time now when I think I was just like chilling in Jamaica because Hancock Boy bust now and I'm up and down in Jamaica and then I get a next call from Anthony B again one day. And him say, hey, you have to decide what kind of artist you want to be,
Right.
Because at that time I think I was trying to just find another hit like Hancock Boy again. So him link me one day and I say, hey, you have to decide what kind of artist you want to be. If you want to be a career artist or if you want to be a hot song artist. Now, a hot song artist only get booked whenever they have a hot song.
Right.
A career artist gets booked all the time. He's on the road, you know what I'm saying? And it also has to do with the type of music that you do too. If you do longevity music, then you become a career artist. But if you're just looking for a hot single to run the road today or whatever, then you just become a hot single artist, And if you don't have a hot song, nobody will be looking at you.
Right.
Yes, so I made the decision to become a career artist. And in doing so, there are a bunch of stuff that I had to do in order to make that work. Number one was I had to focus on the international road more than the local road. That was number one. That's number one, right? Secondly, I had to do albums because my first album, I'm forgetting who said this to me. I don't remember who, but somebody told me that, listen, and it was a roots artist. And he said, perfect, your first album, that is really a passport. Not the one that the government gave to you. He said, not the passport that the government gave to you. That's crap. Forget about that. He said, your first album. Last. Yeah, he said, your first album, that is really a passport. And, according to how it's done and everything like that, that should take you a bunch of places. Yes, so I made sure that I started recording albums also with more international producers than rather than local producers. You understand? Because I have to be building up my stepping blocks as to where I want to reach. You know what I'm saying? And then so it was time to release my first album, which was Giddimani. The first album is called Giddimani, yeah? Yes. And I remember that I had the album, I got everything together, had the masters, everything was complete. And then I was just sitting in Jamaica with the album. And I just got up one morning and out of the blues, I just like said, just like, F it. Me I go Europe. Yeah, me I go Europe. Yeah, like, because I think at that time, I got a deal with VP, and then I think Gypsy got a deal with VP also. And I had an album. VP was reaching out to me, and I said, like, all right, no problem. I head off to Europe. Just a blind move. So I bought a ticket to Austria. Yeah, I just bought myself a ticket to Austria because I had 2 friends that I met there previously. Bought a ticket to Austria. I told them that I was coming to Austria. I landed in Austria and I told them that, yeah, listen, me have an album here and I'm trying to get an album deal and stuff like that. They were just getting into reggae, setting up the little studio and stuff like that, but they really had no connections or no links, you know, to any majors or anything like that. Yeah. So one afternoon we went out, you know, just chilling at a bar. I'm not a drinker, just probably, you know, a beer or something like that I was having. And we were talking to the bartender because my friend knew the bartender. And then they were talking about like some reggae show that was coming up or whatever. Then my friend introduced the bartender to me and told the bartender I was a reggae artist from Jamaica and, you know, I have a new album that I'm you know, I'm about to put out and stuff like that. Then a guy was sitting next to my friend, just a strange guy, just minding his own business. And then the bartender told my friend like that guy was, you know, some big shot guy in music, you know, like he said, well, like, you know, say something to that guy because I was talking to him and he said something about music. Yeah. So my friend introduced himself. We found out that the guy at that time was, he was a label executive for DHF Records.
Amazing.
Yeah. So right away, you know, he introduced me to him like, hey, this is the reggae artist from Jamaica. He has a new album. And the guy gave us his card and said that we should meet up with him at his office the next morning because the boss of the label would you know, is going to be there. So we couldn't wait until the next morning came. We drove downtown Vienna, you know, found the offices. Went up there, you know, the guy that we met the day before, the label executive, plus the boss was there. And they listened to the album and, you know, we had a good talk. We came up with a good deal and we signed off on it. And that was my first album deal. So I was able to get myself the first album deal with a European label. Yeah. So, you know,
now
that's the road.
Amazing. Because
that's the road.
Like Giddimani took a bold step, a brave step, brother. You know what I mean? Just to say that he is leaving the island and flying into Australia. Do you know what I mean? Having no idea what's going to happen.
No idea.
It resulted into a recording deal, isn't it?
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, the first album deal, yeah. And
very first album deal. Very inspiring story there.
Right.
Again by the reggae artist Perfect Giddimani. At this moment, we're going to be taking another song break. And this time, we have a quite interesting song. I would love to hear from the artist the inspiration behind that one. And that one is called Give Me My Flowers. Now, people, viewers on Facebook, listeners all across the world, I would love for you guys, whilst the song is playing, to listen to the words very keenly. And it is a song that is reality. And it happens all the time. Do you know what I mean? So again, it'll be quite interesting when we come back what Perfect Giddimani has to say about this song. Here you go. Give Me My Flowers by the artist. Right here on the Fiery Zone UVC Radio, the sound that binds us together.
For Fancy Block on UVC Radio.
Like sand through the hourglass.
Cool.
Life goes on. Bring me the roses so I can smell them.
Roots and culture.
Give me my flowers before it's
Gotta take it back to the start again.
like sand through the hourglass. While life goes on, bring me the roses so I can smell them. Don't wait till I 100, I give them strictly 100. They only
DJ
use and
Fancy
abuse I.
the artist
Take I for granted.
on UVC
What if I
Radio.
was nobody? No, nobody wouldn't talk to me. No, nobody would care for me.
You know, Summertime representing for UVC Radio. UVC Radio, you're there top. Just so you are chop. The rest of the radio station is drop. For them flop. Clamor consider. Do you think UVC to the world?
Like sand through the hourglass. While life goes on, bring me the roses so I can smell them. Don't wait till I am gone. Give me my flowers. Before it is too late. Give me my flowers before my glory days. Give me my flowers if your love for me is real. And every time I think about it, that's how I feel. I feel. Stop being
To the good people. What a meaningful song. I love it. I really love the vibration, the energy that comes in that song. And again, we are talking to reggae artist, Perfect Giddimani. You just heard the title track, Give Me My Flowers. Now, Giddimani, again, for me, it brings a feeling, a sensation of love, a good feeling when I hear that song. And we would like to understand the true meaning behind that song.
Yeah, man, it's all about giving people, the respect and the attention and the appreciation that they deserve, And it goes straight across the board, Because as human beings, there's some point or some time in our lives where we just think that for some reason, you know, um we are unappreciated, or we are not loved like how we think we should be loved, and it goes in relationships, business, it's straight across the board, as I said, So everybody deserves their flowers in some type of way, Yeah, man, definitely. You see me, the mothers out there, them deserve them. The good mothers out there deserve them flowers, You know what I mean? You don't have to be a singer. It's not about, a musician or about, somebody that career driven, It's just can be a humble mom at home raising her kids, or, a single mom, she deserve her flowers, You know what I mean? So, it's from the ground up, Yeah. Just give, show people the love that they deserve, you know what I mean? Or they earn, so to speak, because in life you don't really deserve anything, but you deserve what you earn, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? You just don't get up and people should just give you flowers like that. You know what I say? Yeah, you just don't get flowers like that. You got to pay your dues. You have to you have to walk the walk, You have to talk the talk, Yeah.
Now, based on most of your songs, one could come to the conclusion that Giddimani embraced the teachings of Rastafari.
Yes, sir.
Now, you have used that as your spiritual guidance. How, over the years, you have intertwined Rastafari, the teachings of Rastafari, into the music that we hear coming from Perfect Giddimani?
Yeah, well, let's say the liberty, we live the life of Rasta, Way before the music we are Rasta. It's not reggae music make we are Rasta, We are Rasta way before the reggae music. Turban and, you see me? Bobo Shanti and thing, But Rasta, the teachings of His Majesty has helped me throughout this music in many ways, to be disciplined, to be principled, to have morals and standards, when it come on to, the music. And in doing so, many times, those qualities or those teachings come out into my lyric. They are, in songs, and yeah, it's a message, Rastafari is still a message, and the youths out there that are really conscious and are really aware of the matrix, they are the ones that tend to gravitate to I and I message, So like I said, the teachings of Rastafari, we have to incorporate it into our lyrics, because we live that life, and we know that it's medicine for the ones out there that are sick because of the Babylonian system, So the songs, the songs are going to say much about I and what I and I stand for, Rastafari. Yeah.
And for many out there, particularly the young generation wanting to become a
Mm,
superstar like yourself,
mm,
what
mhm.
advice would you say to them in terms of the lyrical content that we hear coming from those younger artists?
Well, give thanks, but you say, in through my eyes, I don't consider myself a superstar. You know, a man is just a man, my brother. You know, um, I consider, what I do, I don't have it different from the brother that works 9 to 5 in your local supermarket, packing boxes on the shelf. The only thing is that we work in two different areas. I might be working on the stage, he's working in a warehouse, he might drive to work, I might take the plane, you know. But at the end of the day, what really matters, bro, is the respect and the love that we have out there for each other as human beings. You know what I'm saying? Because remember,
So based on the music that we hear coming
yeah,
from your songs, you know what I
yeah.
mean? So what advice? Because the reason I ask that question, because we see a lot of content that has been released from Jamaica. The lyrical content is derogative towards women. It's promote violence and that sort. But we hear a sort of roots sort of lyrics coming from your song, lyrics that persons could identify and persons could relate to. So what advice would you give to the younger artists in allowing them to be humble and making sure that the lyrical content that coming from them is positive?
Well, it's not really about advising, my brother, because you see, although I can advise, although I can advise,
Mm,
the fact is that people have a choice.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Although I can
Yes,
give you
yes,
an
definitely.
advice, the fact of
Yes.
the matter is that you have a choice. You have a choice. So
Mm,
of course we would love to hear, you know, lyrics with
yeah,
with with, with better
yeah,
content and much more reality, and songs
yeah,
that make sense and are more
yeah.
meaningful. We'd love to hear that coming from pretty much everybody, but you have to remember that different minds and these youths are going to experiment. Um a lot of youths too, it take time for them to find themselves really. They're still growing up, so you're going to sing about
Mm,
car and the fanciness and stuff like that for a minute. Some of them will graduate, some of them are going to stay stuck in it forever. What we have to do, my advice is my advice are my examples. You know, my advice are my examples, and my examples are the beautiful songs that I do that people can you know resonate with and feel good about. You know what I'm saying? And motivate themselves and stuff like that. Because what you have to remember, you see the little, I don't want to say little, forget about that. Sorry.
right.
You see the dancehall
That's okay.
artist. Yeah, you see the dancehall
Yes.
artist that sings a gun song. Listen to me, brethren. Listen
Yes.
to me carefully. The dancehall artist that sings
Yes.
about gun and, you know, whatever. What you have to remember
Yes.
that is, you see, in his time of trouble or distress, pain, he doesn't want to hear that gun sound. Am I going to play a Perfect? Or am I going to play a little Luciana? Am I going to play a Bob Marley? He probably play it, don't worry, be happy. He's not going to be in trouble and I play a song, bust it and shoot it up, and no, because you need a song to console you then. You need a song to take you to reality. You need a song that's not going to, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes we are the artists that those artists listen to, believe it or not. Yeah, brother, believe it or not. You know what I'm saying? It's just like for regular people out there, for regular fans. No matter if a fan say they are a cartel fan or they are a bounty killer fan, when they get into the real problem, you don't want to hear a bounty killer or you want to hear Garnet say, bless me. You want to hear, you know what I'm saying? Yes, so depending on your circumstance, when reality slaps you in the face, you don't want to hear the foolishness.
Right.
You don't want to hear the foolishness. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, let them have fun, man. You know, give them time to come around, you know? You know what I'm saying? And in the meantime that they're having fun, we're still setting good examples. You know, there is always a nice, perfect song, a nice Lutan Fire, a nice Jamaica, a nice Fantan Moja for you to go and listen to. You know?
Definitely.
Yeah. Good vibes, man. Good vibes, you know? Yeah.
Now, of course, people we've been talking to, again, reggae artist, Perfect Giddimani, and we're gonna go for our last song break, and this is the final one for the interview, and we will be closing very shortly from now. And this time, you're gonna hear the song. It's called Amiyad. I hope I'm pronouncing it properly. Amiyad. And then when we come back, we're going to hear what the artist has to say about that, and we're going to wrap up. Again, my name is Fonsa Black, and I'm talking to reggae artist Perfect Giddimani.
Commercial, no. Radical. Fucking.
Bring I forward, please. I'm Bring I forward, please. I'm
Let go big Joe.
Botswana a peace. I'm
Roots and culture.
Ghana a peace. I hear the barbarians calling Naya alien. Oh, what a great jubilation. Bring I forward, please.
And of course, we want to acknowledge all our viewers on Facebook, and that's on UBC Radio and Facebook. We are talking live on air. Reggae artist, Perfect Giddimani, and the title track, Amiyad.
Relax and that is Amiyad.
Fonsa Black. Tell them the big Joe. Roots and culture. Roots and culture.
400 years it's so high. I hear the barbarians calling Naya alien. Oh, what a great tribulation. Bring I forward, please. I'm here. Bring I forward, please. I'm here. Sending Gambia a peace. I'm here. Rwanda a peace. I'm here. I hear the barbarians calling Naya alien.
You're in the Fiery Zone with Fanta Black on UVC Radio.
Yo, you don't know, see a courage representing for DJ Fanso Black. Yo, Fanso Black, play the music for the people them. Blaze it up. Fanso Black, a bedroom bully man of fraud. Yo, Fanso Black, play the music.
And of course, my name is Fonsa Black, and I'm talking to reggae artist, Perfect Giddimani. Amiyada, what was the meds?
Well, you see, I'm here now. What I want to say, I just want them album the way yeah, I want them album that I was really I had an extended amount of time to, do a lot of self introspection and just a lot of self detailing, and it was done during the pandemic, seeing so the world was on a lockdown, people uncertain about what is going to happen tomorrow, all the media with, the lies and the truth mixed together, and you know what I say? So it was really a time of observation, of the world and of self and everything. So I really found the time to tap into myself and just connect with the energies and the past and the present, and yep, I just transcended that into words, and then the words is what you hear right now playing with the instruments, yeah. Yes, my brother.
Africa,
Mm-hmm.
America, Caribbean by extension. This is the moment that you all have been waiting for, as we now will be placing singer reggae artist Perfect Giddimani in the spotlight to give us an a cappella. Go for it.
Bring I forward, please. Hamia, Hamia. Bring I forward, please. Hamia, Hamia. Botswana a peace. Hamia, Hamia. Angana a peace. Hamia, Hamia. I hear the barbarians calling Ayanaya alien. Oh, what a great tribulation. Forget what leap love and joy from the uncat boy. Same little bobo you 20 him fits right. Round a market me juggle pop chai. Never know she woulda they we die. She get what leap love and joy from the uncat boy. Same little bobo, my herbs is all I've got. Tell me what you looking at. Squaddy, don't you know? Is it because I'm black? Tell me what you're looking at, Squaddy, don't you know? Oh, yes, my brother. Give me my flowers before it is too late. Give me my flowers before my glory days. Give me my flowers if your love for me is real. And every time I think about it, that's how I feel. I feel. Fanso Black, not Tanso Black. Forward, forward.
That's what I'm talking about, people all across the world. You heard him live over the air on Facebook. Perfect Giddimani. And now, if there is a promoter out there who would like to book you on your event, what is the best contact for, or what is the best way of getting in contact with Perfect Giddimani?
www.com, Kings International Music. See, you can check out www.com, Kings International Music to book Perfect Giddimani. Or you can head over to my Facebook, Perfect Giddimani, and there is a contact number, a 954 contact number that you can contact that number to book Perfect Giddimani. Yeah. So www.com, Kings International Music website, or head over to Facebook page, Perfect Giddimani, and there's a 954 number that you can contact via WhatsApp to discuss bookings and stuff like that. Yeah. Respect.
And if persons out there would like to watch more music videos by the artist, what are some of the social platforms that will get your music on?
Yeah, no, the music is available across all the social platforms, from Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, Deezer Music, you name it, Apple Music, it's available, and I am on Instagram, Perfect Giddimani. I'm on Facebook, Perfect Giddimani. I am on Twitter, Perfect Giddimani. I'm on TikTok too, but I'm hardly, over TikTok. But yeah, Perfect Giddimani on all of the social media handles, and yeah, you definitely can find me there, yeah.
And what is the next big project that Perfect Giddimani is working on currently that your fans could expect coming from you very soon?
The next big thing coming up is the release. I have a release for a new single coming up on the 7th of October. And that single is actually lively catered to the South Africans that have been doing a lot of great work down there on the ground. I'm so proud of them. We are actually taking back the lands from the foreigners, which I think is a very beautiful thing. And I'm very happy and proud, for the people that are putting this together and making sure that it's done properly without any violence. You know what I mean? And so I have a beautiful song coming out for my South African brothers and sisters that have been representing for equal rights and justice, You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so that song will be out on the 7th of October, and the song is called Arise Again. Yes, and that one will be an anthem for my brothers and sisters down there on the ground in South Africa. Yes.
And just before we come to an end of this interview, is there anyone out there you would like to shout out to?
Well, shout out to all the massive out there that have been supporting my music, and to the ones that have yet to become familiar with the artists. I hope you're probably somehow hearing this beautiful interview, and you could definitely go and check out the artists after. I'm on Spotify, I'm on YouTube, Apple Music, and enough respect to Zion I Kings and I Grade Records. They produced the last album, Amiyad, which is getting a lot of great feedback out there from the reggae community. Big respect to them. Big up to Young Trip, which is one of my other producers over there in California. Enough respect to the team over at Giddimani Records, and to my family, enough love, and to you, fans of Black, big respect, sir. And last but not least, we have to big up my Bobo brethren, you know, that made this possible. You know, me I say, enough respect to Jatopi, you know, he's a youth I know, he's a Bobo youth I know, yeah. I know Jatopi,
Blaze
years
it,
now I know
Jatopi.
Jatopi, you know, yeah, enough respect Jatopi, you know, militant youth and a very humble and respectful brother, you know, so me have to say, enough respect goes out to Jatopi for making this connection. And that's where it all started. So respect Jatopi, respect fans of Black, forward ever, not answer back, you know. Love the item. Rastafari. Bless.
Thank you so much. It has been a pleasure placing you in the spotlight to reveal the story behind your big story to help understand the culture of reggae music coming from the island of Jamaica.
Likewise,
Reggae
my
artist.
Lord. Likewise.
Perfect.
Give thanks. Enough respect. Rastafari.
And we're going to end this one with a song by Giddimani. It's called No Weed. Let's take it in.